Hello everybody, this is week 13. We will be covering chapter 14, Psychological Disorders. So I wanted to give you guys an overview of the week, starting with the to-do list. So as you can see, you're going to be reading chapter 14, Psychological Disorders. I also recommend listening to the audio of the chapter if you have the ebook. It'll be very helpful. Review the objectives for the chapter, which are here. Then you're going to want to read Hawk number 8.3, Learning to be Depressed. This is about learned helplessness, and it's the work of Seligman. Then you can go ahead and review both the interactive lecture slides as well as my lecture slides. So here's the interactive ones. These are really great. Right here. These are really great because you can click on them and you can watch videos that are embedded within the lecture. These are the ones that I would use in class that I've prepared for you. And these are also the ones that follow along with the lecture bursts that I have here. So once you've reviewed the lecture slides from both, I think you'll benefit from looking at both. You can go ahead and listen to any of the lecture bursts that you want to. These are the categories I've outlined for you. You just click here and listen to them. Then I want you to watch the below videos. I have a wide variety of videos this week. Here's OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, and anxiety disorders. It's a crash course overview. Then we have an example of OCD from Chad here. We have an example of OCD in Howie Mandel. And then we have an overview crash course on depressive and bipolar disorders, which fall into the category of mood disorders. Here is a carve out of bipolar, what to look for, symptom signs. And then we have personality disorders, crash course with some examples, such as borderline personality disorder and antisocial personality disorder. And then I have a crash course in schizophrenia and dissociative disorders. I don't have any videos, but in the lecture bursts, I do mention A Beautiful Mind, which is a movie with Russell Crowe, and he plays the life of John Nash, who's a real person, mathematician, genius, who also suffered from schizophrenia. So if you're interested, you can look up A Beautiful Mind on Netflix and watch it. It's a really good movie, but it'll also give you a good idea of what schizophrenia is like. And then I also mentioned The Soloist, which is a movie with Jamie Foxx and Robert Downey Jr. That's really a good movie as well if you're looking for something to do during this quarantine time. Those would be two movies I highly recommend that go along with schizophrenia. Once you've watched all the videos, then you'll be ready to do the homework assignment. Okay, so the homework assignment is based on Hawk 8.3, Learning to be Depressed, but I feel like it's better to tackle that homework assignment once you've watched all the videos and you've done all the readings, because then you have a really good gauge of the chapter material in general, and you're going to be better able to understand that Hawk reading. Just a heads up for what's next. Next week, your final research papers are going to be due by the 24th, so that'll be in week 14. And when those are due, I'm going to have an assignment link for you in the week 14 tab that you'll turn your papers into. That'll be best for me to view them that way. I'm not going to have you submit them via Word documents again like I did with the rough drafts. So you'll just submit them just like you have been submitting your homework assignments in the same way. So use this time between now and then. You have a couple weeks, roughly, to finalize and prepare those final drafts, incorporating in any of my comments that I gave you on the rough drafts, any edits and suggestions, I would now start going through those. Don't wait until the last minute. Maybe start with a page at a time and start revising and editing. I'm not going to read any more rough drafts at this point or any more drafts. So at this point, you're on your own. You have my feedback. I am very confident that you'll be capable of doing a great job on those final drafts and polishing them up and making them look fantastic. Just again, we're not going to be doing the presentations. There was an option to present virtually for the semester's CRCA, but I just felt like it was a lot. And I know a lot of students are going through a lot of change right now and trying to get used to the workload of an online class, which, as you know, is very different from being actually in class. And I just didn't want to put that on your plate. So it was my decision to take that off. And so you'll just be turning in your final drafts of the paper and you'll be graded on that. Okay. So that wraps up the week. As you're working through the material, please feel free to let me know if you have any questions. One thing I wanted to mention too is that all of these lecture bursts and lecture slides, more importantly, are going to be the same for next week. So you'll notice that in the lecture slides and in the lecture bursts, as I talk about a disorder, I then talk about its treatment or its approach to treatment. So it kind of covers chapter 14 and 15. So chapter 15 is psychological treatment for disorders. So that's just something I want to give you a heads up on as you're watching the lecture slides and you're watching the podcasts. Know that they're going to cover chapter 14 and 15, but I'm going to refrain from posting the chapter 15 material until next week, just to keep it kind of clean and neat. But it will be the same in terms of these podcasts won't change and the lecture slides won't change. Okay, so that's it for this week, guys. Have a good week of social distancing and enjoy your quiet quarantine time. Hope you can get in some of those movies I suggested. Bye, everyone.